The morning sun shone bright over New Haven Colony. Jake Morrison threw a ball to his little sister Katie in their backyard. She giggled as she caught it with both hands. Katie was only 5 years old, but she was getting better at catching every day. "Good job, Katie," Jake said with a big smile. He was 8 and felt very proud of his sister. Their mother Lisa was hanging clothes on the line nearby. She watched her children play and smiled. Their father Alex was fixing a fence post just a few feet away. The sound of his hammer hitting nails rang out across the quiet colony. New Haven was a small place. Only about 200 people lived there. Everyone knew everyone else. The Garcia family lived next door. Their daughter Emma was Jake's age, and she often played with them. The Johnson family had a boy named Tyler, who was 7. The White family had little Amy, who was only 4 years old. It was a peaceful place. The colonists had built New Haven on a planet far from Earth. They wanted a quiet life among the stars. The planet had green grass, blue skies, and clean air. It felt like home. Jake threw the ball again. This time Katie missed it, and the ball rolled toward the fence. She ran after it, laughing. Jake followed her, making sure she did not get too close to the edge of their yard. "Be careful, Katie," he said. "I'm okay, Jake," she said, picking up the ball. In the distance, other children were playing too. Emma Garcia was helping her mother in their garden. Tyler Johnson was riding his bike up and down the dirt road. Little Amy White was playing with her toys on her family's porch. Alex Morrison stopped hammering and wiped sweat from his face. He looked at his wife Lisa and smiled. They had made a good choice coming to New Haven. Their children were safe and happy here. "Jake, Katie, come inside for lunch soon," Lisa called out. "5 more minutes, Mom?" Jake asked. "Okay, 5 more minutes." The children went back to playing. Jake taught Katie how to throw the ball higher. She tried hard, sticking her tongue out as she concentrated. When she threw it really high, both children cheered. Then everything changed. The sky grew dark. At first, Alex thought it was just clouds covering the sun. But the darkness was wrong. It moved too fast. It had a strange shape. "What is that?" Lisa asked, looking up. Alex dropped his hammer. Above them, 3 large ships came down from the sky. They were not like any ships the colonists had ever seen. They were smooth and silver, with no windows. They made no sound as they flew. Everyone inside now, Alex shouted. Jake grabbed Katie's hand. They ran toward their house. All around the colony, other parents were calling for their children. Emma Garcia dropped her gardening tools and ran to her house. Tyler Johnson fell off his bike but got up quickly. Little Amy White cried as her mother picked her up. The ships landed in the center of the colony. The ground shook as they touched down. Doors opened on the sides of the ships. Strange creatures came out. The creatures were tall and thin. They had pale skin that looked almost white. They had 4 arms instead of 2. Their eyes were like crystals, shining in the light. They wore dark clothes and carried weapons that looked like long tubes. "What do they want?" Lisa whispered. She held Katie close to her chest. Alex stood in front of his family. He picked up a piece of wood from his fence project. It was not much of a weapon, but it was all he had. The creatures spread out across the colony. They moved fast, much faster than humans. They pointed their tube weapons at the adults. Blue light came from the weapons. When the light hit someone, they fell down and could not move. "No!" Alex shouted when he saw Ben Carter, the colony administrator, get hit by the blue light. Ben fell to the ground, but was still breathing. The creatures were not interested in the adults. They wanted something else. They wanted the children. 2 of the creatures came toward Jake and Katie. Jake pushed his sister behind him. Stay away from them, he yelled. The creatures did not listen. One of them pointed its weapon at Alex. The blue light hit him, and he fell down. Lisa screamed and tried to run, but another creature hit her with the blue light. Jake and Katie were alone. The creatures reached for them with their 4 arms. Jake tried to fight, but he was just a boy. The creatures were too strong. Jake, help me, Katie cried as one of the creatures picked her up. Let her go, Jake shouted. He punched and kicked, but it did no good. Another creature grabbed him. All around the colony, the same thing was happening. The creatures were taking the children. Emma Garcia was crying as they carried her away. Tyler Johnson was fighting just like Jake, but he was too small. Little Amy White was screaming for her mother. 14 children in total were taken. The creatures carried them toward the ships. The children kicked and screamed, but the creatures were too strong. One of the creatures was different from the others. It had marks on its clothes that looked important. It was probably their leader. This creature stopped in front of Ben Carter, who was on the ground but still awake. We take young ones, the creature said in broken human language. They are good for study. Their minds are growing. We learn from them. Ben Carter tried to speak, but his body would not move. The blue light had frozen his muscles. You no follow, the creature continued. You have no ships that go far. Children, come with us. We study them. Maybe they live, maybe not. The creature turned and walked back to the ships. The other creatures followed, carrying the children. Jake looked back at his parents as they carried him away. He saw his mother and father on the ground, unable to move. Tears ran down his face. Mom, Dad! He shouted. The creatures put the children inside the ships. The doors closed. The engines started up, making a deep humming sound. The ships lifted off the ground and flew up into the sky. In less than 10 minutes, it was over. The ships disappeared into space. The colony was quiet again, but it was a different kind of quiet now. It was the quiet of parents who had lost their children. Slowly, the colonists began to move again. The blue light wore off after a few minutes. Alex was the first to get up. He ran to where his children had been taken. Jake, Katie, he shouted. At the empty sky, Lisa got up and ran to him. They held each other and cried. All around them, other parents were doing the same thing. The Garcia family, the Johnson family, the White family, they were all crying for their children. Ben Carter got up and stumbled toward the communication center. His hands shook as he turned on the radio. He had to tell someone what had happened. He had to ask for help. This is New Haven Colony, he said into the microphone. We have an emergency. Unknown aliens have taken our children. 14 children have been kidnapped. We need help. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help. The message went out into space. Somewhere among the stars, people would hear it. But would they be able to help? And would they be in time? The parents of New Haven looked up at the sky. Their children were out there somewhere, in the dark of space. They were alone and scared. The parents felt helpless, but they also felt something else. They felt angry. Very angry. The creatures had made a mistake. They had taken human children. They did not know what that meant. They did not understand what they had done, but they would learn. The parents would make sure of that. The distress signal from New Haven Colony traveled through space. It reached many places, but one place was very important. It reached Crossroads Station. Crossroads Station was huge. It floated in space between several star systems. Many different alien species came there to trade goods and make deals. It was like a big market in space. The station had sections for different types of aliens. Some braved air like humans. Others needed different gases to live. Some liked it hot. Others liked it cold. The station had areas for all of them. Cathvar was in the main trading area. He was a member of the Thraconi species. The Thraconi looked like big lizards that walked on two legs. They had scales instead of skin and yellow eyes. Cathvar was old for his species. His scales were dark green with spots of gray. Cathvar had been trading with humans for many years. He liked humans. They were honest in their deals. They kept their promises. Many other alien species did not like humans because they were unpredictable. But Cathvar thought that was what made them interesting. He was looking at some metal that human traders wanted to buy. The metal was rare and valuable. He was thinking about what price to ask for it when he heard voices nearby. The voices belonged to a group of Zelkari. The Zelkari were tall and thin with pale skin. They had 4 arms and crystal-like eyes. Cathvar did not like the Zelkari very much. They thought they were better than other species because they had advanced technology. The collection was very successful. One of the Zelkari was saying, 14 specimens obtained. Young ones? Another Zelkari asked. Yes, their neural patterns are still developing. Perfect for our research. Cathvar's yellow eyes narrowed. He moved closer to listen. The Zelkari were speaking in their own language, but Cathvar understood it. He had learned many languages in his years of trading. The human colony offered no real resistance. The first Zelkari continued. They have no technology that can threaten us. The specimens are already on their way to the research facility. Human specimens? The second Zelkari asked. Of course. Human children have the most interesting brain patterns. They will provide valuable data. Cathvar felt his scales turn darker. This was what Thraconi did when they were scared or angry. Human children? The Zelkari had taken human children? He walked over to the group of Zelkari. There were 4 of them, all wearing the fancy clothes of merchants and diplomats. Excuse me, Cathvar said in the common trade language. Did you say you took human children? The Zelkari looked at him with their crystal eyes. One of them, who had special markings on his clothes, seemed to be their leader. Yes, the leader said. We collected specimens from a human colony. It was a simple matter. You took their young ones? Cathvar asked. His voice was shaking. Merely scientific specimens, the Zelkari leader replied. His name was Ambassador Quindle. The humans are primitive. They lack the technology to pursue use across space. Cathvar stared at them. He could not believe what he was hearing. The Zelkari had no idea what they had done. You don't understand, Cathvar said. You don't understand what you have done. The Zelkari laughed. Their laugh sounded like breaking glass. We understand perfectly, Quindle said. We have advanced technology. We have fast ships. We have weapons they cannot match. What can a few primitive humans do to us? You have to return them, Cathvar said. Return the children now before. It is too late. Too late for what? Another Zelkari asked. The humans cannot even leave their own star system without our help. You are wrong, Cathvar said. Very wrong. Humans are not like other species. They are not like us. How so? Quindle asked. He seemed amused by Cathvar's worry. They bond with their offspring in ways other species do not, Cathvar explained. When you take the young of most species, the adults might be sad, but they will eventually accept it. Humans are different. Very different. Different how? Quindle asked. They will never accept it, Cathvar said. Never. They will come for their children no matter what. They will cross the entire galaxy if they have to. They will never stop looking. They will never give up. The Zelkari laughed again. Even if that were true, Quindle said, what could they do? They have no ships that can travel far. They have no weapons that can hurt us. They are weak. You think they are weak because they are peaceful. Kethver said. But they are not weak. They are just quiet until someone threatens what they love. Then they become something else entirely. What do you mean? One of the other Zalkari asked. I have seen humans fight, Kethvar said. I have seen what they do when their families are threatened. They become like a force of nature. They do not think about their own safety. They do not care about the odds against them. They just fight until they win or die trying. Nonsense, Quindle said. They are a young species. They barely know how to travel between stars. Age does not matter, Kethver said. Neither does technology. What matters is will. And humans have more will than any species I have ever met. You are being dramatic, Quindle said. What could they possibly do to us? They will find you, Kethver said. I don't know how, but they will find you. And when they do, you will wish you had never heard of their species. Even if they found us, Quindle said, we have defenses. We have weapons. We have shields. Your defenses won't matter, Kethvar sighed. Your weapons won't matter. Nothing will matter except returning their children. Why are you so concerned about this? Another Zalkari asked. They are not your species. Because I have traded with humans for years, Kethver said. I have seen how they react when they're young or threatened. I have seen them do impossible things to protect their families. Such as? Quindle asked. I once saw a human woman lift a piece of metal that 10 of my people could not move. Her child was trapped under it. She lifted it by herself and saved the child. I have seen human fathers fight creatures 3 times their size to protect their young. I have seen human mothers stay awake for days to care for sick children. Interesting stories, Quindle said, but they prove nothing. They prove everything, Kethver said. Humans are not like us. When their children are in danger, they become something beyond normal. They become unstoppable. You exaggerate, Quindle said. I am not exaggerating, Kethver said. I am trying to save your species from making the biggest mistake in galactic history. Our species? Quindle laughed. What could humans do to our entire species? They will unite, Kethver said. Every human colony, every human ship, every human world will come together. They will put aside all their differences and work together for one purpose. Getting their children back. Impossible, Quindle said. No species unites that easily. Humans do, Kethver said. When their children are threatened, they stop being separate groups. They become one people with one goal. And what goal is? That, Quindle asked. Destroying whoever took their children, Kethver said, completely destroying them. The Zalkari looked at each other. They were starting to seem a little less sure of themselves. You are trying to frighten us, one of them said. I am trying to save you, Kethver said. Return the children now. Send them back to their colony. Tell the humans you made a mistake. Ask for forgiveness. We cannot do that, Quindle said. The research has already begun. The specimens are too valuable. Then you are all dead, Kethver said quietly. Your entire species is dead, and you just don't know it yet. You are being ridiculous, Quindle said. Humans are not gods. They are just another species. No, Kethver said. They are not just another species. They are the species that will cross the void of space to save their young. They are the species that will never forgive and never forget. They are the species that will hunt you to the ends of the galaxy. We have heard enough of this, Quindle said. Our security is not your concern. Your security? Kethver laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. You have no security now. You have 14 human children. That means you have 14 death sentences hanging over your entire species. We are leaving, Quindle said. Your warnings are noted, but ignored. The Zalkari walked away. Kethver watched them go. He felt very sad. Azelkari had no idea what they had started. They thought they were safe because they had good technology and fast ships. But they had no idea what humans were like when their children were in danger. Kethver went to his communication station. He sent a message to his people. He told them to stay away from human space for a while. He told them that something big was about to happen, and it would be dangerous to be anywhere near it. Then he sat down and waited. He knew that soon, very soon, the humans would come. And when they did, the galaxy would never be the same. The message from New Haven Colony reached Earth in 3 days. When it arrived, everything changed. Admiral Patricia Hayes was in her office at the Human Defense Command when her assistant brought her the message. She read it once, then read it again. Her hands started to shake. "Get me the Defense Council," she said. "Now. Emergency session." "Yes, ma'am. What should I tell them?" "Tell them that aliens have taken our children." Within 2 hours, every important person in the Human Defense Council was in the meeting room. There were generals, admirals, politicians, and scientists. Some had traveled from other planets to be there. Admiral Hayes stood at the front of the room. She looked at all the faces staring back at her. These were people who had seen many crises before, but she had never seen them look like this. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "3 days ago, unknown aliens attacked the New Haven colony. They took 14 children. The youngest was 4 years old. The oldest was 8. The room was completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. The aliens said they were taking the children for research," Admiral Hayes continued. "They said they might live. They said they might not." A general named Robert Clark stood up. His face was red with anger. "What do we know about these aliens?" he asked. "Not much," Admiral Hayes said. "The colonists described them as tall, thin, with pale skin and 4 arms. They had advanced technology, ships that made no sound, weapons that could stun people." "Do we know where they went?" asked another general. "No, they left the system before anyone could track them." "How many ships do we have available?" asked Admiral Lisa Wong. "That depends," Admiral Hayes said. "How many ships do we need?" "All of them," said General Clark. "Every ship we have, every weapon we can find." "I agree," said Admiral Hayes. "This is not just about New Haven Colony. This is about every human child in the galaxy. If we let this happen, other aliens will think they can take our children too." "What about the cost?" asked a politician named Senator Brown. "A full military response will be very expensive." The room erupted in angry voices. Everyone started talking at once. "Shut up," General Clark shouted. "We are talking about children, human children. There is no cost too high to get them back." "The general is right," Admiral Hayes said. "We will use every resource we have. Every ship, every weapon, every person who can help." "Where do we start?" asked Admiral Wong. "Space is very big. The aliens could be anywhere." "We start by asking for help," Admiral Hayes said. "We contact every human colony, every human ship, every human base. We tell them what happened. We ask them to help us find these aliens. And if they refuse?" Senator Brown asked. "They won't refuse," Admiral Hayes said. "These are human children. No human will refuse to help." The meeting continued for hours. Plans were made. Resources were assigned. Messages were sent to every human settlement in known space. Captain Roy Mitchell was commanding the battleship U-Seshenjins when he received the message. He was a big man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had been in the military for 20 years. He had seen many battles, but when he read the message about the kidnapped children, he felt something he had never felt before, a cold anger that went down to his bones. "Attention all crew. he said over the ship's communication system. "We have new orders. Aliens have kidnapped 14 human children. We are going to find them and bring them home." The crew of the Vengeance were tough people. They had fought in many battles. But when they heard about the children, they became something more. They became protectors. Lieutenant Commander Julie Brooks was the first to volunteer for the mission. She was a small woman with dark hair and quick hands. She was the best pilot on the ship. "I have 2 children of my own," she told Captain Mitchell. "I will fly this ship to the end of the galaxy if that's what it takes." Sergeant Major Pete Santos was in charge of the ship's Marines. He was a strong man with many scars from old battles. He had fought in more wars than he could count. "My Marines are ready," he told Captain Mitchell. "We will get those children back." All across human space, the same thing was happening. Every military ship was being prepared for the mission. But it was not just military ships. Civilian ships were also getting ready. Merchant ships were being fitted with weapons. Exploration vessels were being loaded with supplies. Even small personal craft were being prepared for the long journey. The response was bigger than anyone had expected. Thousands of ships were getting ready to join the search. It was the largest fleet in human history. Dr. Helen Chong was a scientist who studied alien species. She was brought to Admiral Hayes to help plan the mission. "Tell me about these aliens." Admiral Hayes said. "Based on the description, they sound like the Zelkari," Dr. Chong said. "I have studied them for years. They are very advanced, but they see other species as test subjects. What do they want with our children?" "They probably want to study human brain development," Dr. Chong said. "Zelkari think they are the most intelligent species in the galaxy. They study other species to prove this." "Where would they take the children?" "Probably to one of their research facilities. They have several throughout their territory." "How do we find their territory?" "That is the hard part," Dr. Chong said. "Zelkari space is far from human space. It will take months to reach it. Then we start now." Admiral Hayes said. Captain Mitchell's ship was one of the first to leave Earth. But it was not alone. 100 other ships left with it. Behind them, more ships were getting ready every day. The human fleet was not just about military power. It was about something else. It was about the promise that every human parent made to their children. The promise to keep them safe. News of the kidnapping spread to every human colony. On Mars, families with children sent supplies to the rescue fleet. On Europa, workers in the ice mines took extra shifts to earn money for the mission. On Titan, children drew pictures of the kidnapped kids and sent them to the fleet. The message was clear. Humanity was united. Every human, no matter where they lived, was part of the rescue mission. Some aliens on Crossroads Station watched the human fleet gather. They had never seen anything like it. Ships kept coming and coming. The fleet grew bigger every day. "How many ships do the humans have?" one alien asked another. "I don't know," the other replied. "But they keep coming." Kethver watched the human fleet from his trading post. He was not surprised. He had tried to warn the Zelkari, but they had not listened. Now they would see what humans were really like. "The humans are coming," he said to himself. "And they are bringing everything they have." The human fleet was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. It was not just about weapons or ships. It was about something deeper. It was about the love that parents have for their children. It was about the promise that no child would be left behind. Captain Mitchell stood on the bridge of his ship. Around him, his crew worked to prepare for the long journey ahead. He thought about the 14 children who were somewhere in the darkness of space. They were scared and alone. But they would not be alone much longer. Set course for the outer rim. He told his navigator, "We have children to bring home." The human fleet began to move. Ship after ship left human space and headed into the unknown. They did not know where they were going. They did not know what they would find. But they knew one thing for certain. They would not come back without the children. The hunt had begun. The human fleet had been searching for 2 months. They had traveled through 3 star systems, following every clue they could find. They had questioned alien traders, searched abandoned space stations, and followed energy trails that might lead to the Zell carried out. Captain Mitchell stood on the bridge of the UHS Vengeance. His face was tired, but his eyes were still determined. Around him, his crew worked without rest. They had all lost weight during the long search. They had all aged. Years in just 2 months. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Julie Brooks called from her station. "We are receiving a signal from the scout ship UHS Tracker." "Put it through," Captain Mitchell said. The face of Commander Frank Davis appeared on the screen. He looked excited. "Captain Mitchell," he said, "we found them. We found the Zelkari research facility." Captain Mitchell felt his heart start to beat faster. "Where?" "It's on the 3rd moon of Hefthir, about 6 hours from our current position. The energy signature matches what we've been tracking." "What can you see?" "It's a large facility built into the side of a mountain. We can see several ships docked there, and Captain ... We're picking up human life signs." Captain Mitchell closed his eyes for a moment. After 2 months of searching, they had finally found the children. "How many life signs?" he asked. 14. Commander Davis said. "All alive." The bridge of the Vengeance erupted in cheers. Crew members hugged each other. Some of them cried with relief. But Captain Mitchell raised his hand for silence. "This is not over yet," he said. "We still have to get them out." Commander Davis returned to the fleet. "We need to plan our attack." The human fleet gathered around the moon of Kefter. There were now over 300 ships. More arrived every day as the news spread that the children had been found. Inside the research facility, the 14 children were being kept in a special area. They were in cells that looked like rooms, but the doors were locked. The walls were made of a clear material, so the Zelkari could watch them. Jake Morrison had become the leader of the group. Even though he was only 8 years old, the other children looked to him for guidance. He had kept them together during the long weeks of captivity. "Don't give up," he told them every day. "Our parents will come for us. I know they will." Little Katie Morrison stayed close to her brother. She was scared, but Jake's presence made her feel safer. Emma Garcia, Tyler Johnson, and Amy Whitehead all become like family to Jake and Katie. The Zelkari scientists studied the children every day. They used machines to scan their brains. They asked them questions and recorded their answers. They watched everything the children did. Chief Researcher Mol Fick was fascinated by the human children. He had never seen anything like them before. Other species' children were simple creatures who only cried for food or sleep. But human children were different. They comforted each other. They played games. They told stories. They hoped. "Interesting," Molfick said to his assistant. "The human young ones maintain social bonds even under stress. Most species would show more individual behavior." "What does it mean?" the assistant asked. "It means their brains are more complex than we thought," Molfick said. "They may be worth keeping for long-term study." Jake heard the aliens talking, but he did not understand their language. He did understand that they were planning to keep the children for a long time, maybe forever. "We have to get out of here," he whispered to the other children during their evening meal. "How?" Emma asked. "The doors are locked." "I don't know yet," Jake said, "but we have to try." Meanwhile, the human fleet was preparing for battle. Captain Mitchell met with the other commanders to plan their attack. The research facility was heavily defended. It had energy shields and weapon systems. It would not be easy to take. "We need to be careful," Admiral Hayes said. She had come from Earth to personally lead the mission. "The children are inside. We cannot use our biggest weapons." "What do you suggest?" Captain Mitchell asked. "We hit them fast and hard," Admiral Hayes said. "We disable their shields and then send in ground troops. We get the children out before the Zelkari can hurt them." "What if they threaten to kill?" "The children?" asked another commander. "Then we kill them first," Admiral Hayes said. "All of them." The human fleet moved into position around the moon. The Zelkari facility detected them immediately. Warning alarms began to sound throughout. The research center. "Unknown ships approaching," a Zelkari technician reported. "They are not responding to our communication attempts." "How many ships?" asked the facility commander. "Over 300. All human." The facility commander felt a chill run through his body. He had heard rumors about what happened when humans were angry, but he had never believed them. "Activate all defenses," he ordered. "Contact the home fleet. Tell them we need immediate assistance." But it was too late. The human fleet was already attacking. The battle was fierce but short. The Zelkari had good technology, but they were not prepared for the fury of the human attack. The humans fought like they were possessed. They pushed their ships beyond safe limits. They took risks that no sane military would take. Captain Mitchell led the charge in the UHS Vengeance. His ship took heavy damage, but he kept fighting. Lieutenant Commander Brooks flew through enemy fire that should have destroyed her ship. Sergeant Major Santos prepared his Marines for the ground assault. "This is for the children." Captain Mitchell shouted over the communication system. "Show them what happens when you take our young." The human fleet broke through the Zelkari defenses in less than an hour. The facility's shields collapsed. Their weapons went offline. Their ships were destroyed or damaged beyond repair. Ground. "Teams, go." Admiral Hayes ordered. Hundreds of human soldiers landed on the moon's surface. They fought their way into the research facility. The Zelkari tried to resist, but they were overwhelmed. The humans fought with a desperation that the Zelkari had never seen before. Sergeant Major Santos led his Marines through the facility's corridors. They moved quickly, searching for the children. Other human soldiers secured the research labs and captured the Zelkari scientists. "Search every room," Santos ordered. "Those children are here somewhere?" It was Jake Morrison who heard the fighting first. The sound of human weapons was different from Zelkari weapons. It was a sound he recognized. "Do you hear that?" he asked. The other children thought they listened. In the distance, they could hear explosions and the sound of people running. "Is that our parents?" Katie asked. "I think so," Jake said. His heart was beating fast with hope. The door to their area suddenly exploded inward. Human soldiers rushed in, their weapons ready. When they saw the children, they stopped. "We found them." One soldier shouted, "The children are here." Sergeant Major Santos ran into the room. When he saw the 14 children, alive and mostly unharmed, he felt tears come to his eyes. "You're safe now," he told them. "We're taking you home." The children ran to the soldiers. They hugged them and cried with relief. Jake held his sister, Katie, close. "I told you they would come," he whispered to her. "I told you our parents would find us." The rescue was complete within an hour. All 14 children were safely aboard human ships. They were scared and tired, but they were alive. But the humans were not finished. They had found their children, but they had also found something else. They had found the research labs where the Zelkari had been studying the children. The labs were full of machines that had been used to scan the children's brains. There were recordings of everything the children had said and done. There were plans for more experiments that would have hurt the children badly. Captain Mitchell looked at the recordings. He saw his own people's children being treated like animals. In a laboratory, his anger grew hotter than the core of a star. "Destroy it all," he ordered. "Every machine, every computer, every piece of research. Burn it all down." The human soldiers did not need to be told twice. They destroyed everything in the research facility. They made sure that nothing could ever be used to hurt children again. Chief Researcher Mole Thick was captured while trying to escape. When they brought him before Admiral Hayes, he was shaking with fear. "You don't understand," he said in broken human language. "We were just doing research. It is what we do. It is our way." "Your way?" Admiral Hayes said. Her voice was cold as ice. "Your way is to kidnap children and experiment on them? They are just specimens," Molthick said. "We did not hurt them." Badly, Admiral Hayes looked at the alien scientist. She thought about the 14 children who had been locked in cells for months. She thought about how scared they must have been. "You made a mistake," she said. "You took our children. That is something we will never forgive. But we can make a deal," Molek said. "We can give you technology. We can share our knowledge." "We don't want your technology," Admiral Hayes said. "We want you to never touch another human child as long as your species exists." A facility was completely destroyed. Every Zelkari ship in the area was either captured or destroyed. The human fleet prepared to leave with the rescued children, but Captain Mitchell received a message from Earth. Before they left, "Captain," Admiral Hayes said, "we have new orders. We are not going home yet." 3 weeks later, the human fleet finally returned to New Haven Colony. The entire colony was waiting for them. Parents who had not seen their children for almost 3 months stood in the landing area, tears streaming down their faces. The first ship to land carried the 14 rescued children. When the door opened, Jake Morrison stepped out first, holding his little sister Katie's hand. Behind them came Emma Garcia, Tyler Johnson, Amy White, and all the other children. Alex and Lisa Morrison ran to their children. They hugged Jake and Katie so tight that the children could barely breathe. All around them, other families were having the same reunion. "We knew you would come," Jake told his parents. "I told Katie that you would never give up on us." "Never," Alex said, tears in his eyes. "We would have searched the entire galaxy to find you." "We did search most of it," Lisa added, laughing and crying at the same time. The colony held a celebration that lasted for 3 days. Every family was together again. The children were safe, but everyone knew that something had changed. The galaxy was different now. The human fleet had not just rescued 14 children. They had done much more than that. In the weeks after the rescue, they had destroyed every Zelkari research facility in known space. They had freed hundreds of prisoners from dozens of different species. They had sent a message that echoed across the galaxy. The Zelkari government had tried to surrender after the first week. They sent ambassadors to meet with the human fleet. They offered to pay for damages. They promised to never take human children again. Admiral Hayes had listened to their offers. Then she had given them her response. "You misunderstand," she told the Zelkari ambassadors. "This is not about money. This is not about promises. This is about making sure that what you did to our children never happens to any children ever again. What do you want?" The lead ambassador had asked. "We want your entire research program shut down," Admiral Hayes said. "We want every facility destroyed. We want every scientist who participated in child experiments to face trial. We want your species to never again treat children of any species as test subjects." "That is impossible," the ambassador said. "Research is what we do. It is our culture." "Then your culture needs to change," Admiral Hayes replied. "Or we will change it for you." The humans had kept their word. They had systematically destroyed every research facility they could find. They had rescued prisoners and returned them to their home worlds. They had made it clear that the Zelkari's way of doing science was over. Some Zelkari had resisted. They had fought back with their advanced weapons and fast ships. But they had learned what Kethver had tried to warn them about. Human determination was stronger than any technology. The humans had fought with a fury that scared other species. They had pushed their ships beyond breaking points. They had taken risks that should have been suicide. They had fought like they were protecting the most precious things in the universe, because they were. Back on New Haven, Jake Morrison was playing in his backyard again with his sister Katie, but things were different now. The children who had been taken were all different. They had seen things that children should never see. They had been scared in ways that would stay with them forever, but they had also learned something important. They had learned that their parents would never give up on them. They had learned that the entire human race would come together to protect them. "Jake," Katie said as they played catch, "are the bad aliens gone now?" "Yes," Jake said. "They are gone. And if any other bad aliens try to hurt children, our people will stop them too." "How do you know?" Katie asked. "Because I saw what our people did to save us," Jake said. "They traveled across the galaxy. They fought impossible battles. They never gave up. That's what humans do when their children are in danger." On Crossroads Station, Kethver was talking to a group of alien traders. They were all discussing the human campaign against the Zelkari. "I tried to warn them," Kethver said. "I told them that taking human children was suicidal, but they would not listen. The humans destroyed their entire research network. One alien said, "Hundreds of facilities. Thousands of years of scientific work." "Good," said another alien. "What they were doing to children was wrong." "The humans have made their point," a third alien added. "No species will dare to threaten human children, no." "It is not just about human children," Kethver said. "The humans freed prisoners from many species. They have made it clear that they will not tolerate any species that hurts children. They have appointed themselves as protectors of the galaxies." Young, the first alien, observed. "Perhaps that is what the galaxy needed," Kethver said. "Someone willing to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves." News of the human campaign spread throughout the galaxy. Some species were afraid of human military power. Others were grateful for human protection. But all species understood the message: human children were not to be touched. Any children under human protection were not to be touched. And any species that experimented on children would face the full fury of humanity. The Zelkari species survived, but they were changed forever. Their government was forced to sign treaties that banned all research on sentient beings. Their military was reduced to a small defense force. Their territory was placed under human monitoring. Many Zelkari accepted the changes. They realized that their old ways had been wrong. They began to study science in new ways that did not hurt other beings. But some Zelkari remained bitter. They blamed the humans for destroying their civilization. They said that humans were too emotional and violent. These Zelkari were reminded of something by their own people. The humans had not started the conflict. The humans had not wanted to fight. The humans had only wanted their children back. It was the Zelkari who had chosen to take children for experiments. It was the Zelkari who had treated children like animals. It was the Zelkari who had brought human fury down upon themselves. 1 year after the rescue, New Haven Colony erected a memorial. It was a simple stone monument in the center of town. On it were carved the names of all 14 children who had been taken. Below their names was a short inscription: "Protected by humanity's promise." The memorial was not just for the children of New Haven. It was for all children everywhere. It was a reminder that some things are worth fighting for, no matter the cost. Jake Morrison, now 9 years old, often visited the memorial with his sister Katie. They would read the names and remember the time when they had been taken. But they also remembered how their people had come for them. "Will you tell your children about this someday?" Katie asked Jake. "Yes," Jake said. "I will tell them that they are protected. I will tell them that if anyone ever tries to hurt them, all of humanity will come to save them." "That's a good story," Katie said. "It's not just a story," Jake replied. "It's a promise." Across the galaxy, that promise was heard and understood. Human children would never again be taken without consequence. And any species that threatened children would learn what the Zalkari had learned. They would learn that humanity's love for its children was stronger than any weapon, faster than any ship, and more determined than any technology. They would learn that some things in the universe were sacred, and they would learn that humanity would cross the void itself. To protect those sacred things, the galaxy was a safer place for children now, and it would remain that way as long as humanity existed. Among the stars, that was humanity's promise. And humanity always kept its promises.